It's massive. You know, it's something that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm really confident, if I'm honest. You know, it's our time. I'm sure it's our time, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to be at the game.
What makes you think it's our time?
Just the way that the squad is and the way that we've been playing in this tournament. You know, we haven't played our best, but every performance has been getting better and better. And I just feel that there's something going to happen. You know, it's Gareth's time, it's our team's time, and you know, and I've always said, football's coming home. I started with that song in Euro '96. I want to be here when football finally comes home.
I forgot that. It was Euro '96 when that song started.
Exactly.
And it's haunted every England team since, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
I don't know about haunted, but it's a great song to sing, but we want it to come home. You know, I remember German fans singing it to us, saying football's coming home after they'd won it. You know, so you know, I want to be here, like I say, when it finally does come home. Let
me talk to you about Gareth Southgate. He's your teammate. You played with him for so long with England. He's your mate as well. What do you make of the job he's done? Because he's had some awful stick in this tournament. He's told me it's hurt him. He's been surprised by the level of it. What do you make of the job he's done?
The job he's done has been brilliant, you know, and this is where he's got us to. He's got us to a stage where when we go into an international tournament, you know, whether it be World Cup or Europeans, we're favourites or joint favourites. We've got great chances of winning these tournaments now. And that's where he's got us to. You know, he's been at it for quite a while now. Obviously the under-21s, then some of the players that he had there, and now in the full squad. So he's got the total respect of the players. And the way that he's built it is so special. And what I love the most about it is he's done it his own way. You know, he's ignored everybody, you know, all the criticism that he's got, all the criticism that he's had in this tournament as well, he's ignored it and done it his way. Look where it's got us to, another cup final.
Does he get the credit he deserves?
No, not at all. And I don't know why, you know, because, like I just said, you know, sometimes we're favourites in these tournaments, and getting us to 2 finals, a semi-final as well. You know, he's done a fantastic job. You know, but I don't know whether it's the English mentality or what. It's just we want change, you know, and we always think that whatever level they've set, people are going to kick on from that level. It doesn't always happen like that. You know, you look at people like, look at Arsene Wenger, for instance. Look where Arsenal went after that. Look where Man United went after Sir Alex. You know, so, you know, just be careful what you wish for, you know, but give him credit now, get behind him, get behind the lads, and because this is a great chance.
Right, I want to talk to you about Declan Rice. I can't get an Arsenal legend without asking about another Arsenal player who's fast becoming a legend, let's say, with Declan Rice. Look, I spoke to him in the news conference on Friday, and I was very emotional by the way he was speaking. He has this way of speaking which just inspires you. So I can only imagine what it's like in the dressing room when he's doing that. And he's run further than any other player in this tournament. What do you say about Declan Rice?
Well, the fact that he puts in the work. You know, he's got all the respect. He's got, by the sounds of it, he's got all the motivational skills as well. And we've seen it with Arsenal. You know, he's one of those players where he doesn't get the credit he deserves, because it's not like he's scoring goals all the time, but the little passes that he makes that links defence to midfield to attack. You know, and then all the hard work, the tracking back, the tackles, the last-minute tackles. He does all that, and he does it as though it's his. Well, it is his job, but he does it with fun as well, and he enjoys it.
He's told us in that news conference that his role is slightly different for England than it is for Arsenal. You know, he gets forward a little bit more for Arsenal. And we were trying to compare him and Rodri. Of course, he was going to come up against, you know, Manchester City, Arsenal battle going on there with England against Spain tonight, of course. How do you see that battle? He is a different player to Rodri, isn't he?
Yeah, but not a lot different. You know, they're both that type of player that put in a lot of work, and like you say, with the little passes that link defences to midfield and so on. But you know, with Rodri, he's got a fantastic record. But you know, look at last season, we took 4 points off City, so I think Declan will he'll be quietly confident and looking forward to the challenge as well.
I've got to ask you about Lamine Yamal. I mean, this wonder kid. From a goalkeeper's perspective, you must have watched that shot that won it for Spain in the semi-final. Is that unstoppable from a goalkeeper's perspective? What do you make of him?
Well, he's just had his birthday, hasn't he? So he's what, a year older, so he might be past it. Hopefully he is. Yeah, he's only 17, David. Okay. But no, you know, he's a very special player. There's no doubt. When I first saw him, you know, in this tournament, I couldn't believe that was the 16-year-old that was playing in that team, because he plays with so much maturity and so much skill as well. You know, and you've got to be careful with him. You've got to make sure that you give him the attention he deserves. Yeah, and shots like that. The thing with shots like that is you don't know which side they're going to go as a goalkeeper. You know, and if it's going to go in like down the side of the post or off the crossbar, I remember a certain Wayne Rooney doing that to me, cutting inside at 16-year-old, and I didn't know which side he was going to go. And he hit it off the crossbar into the goal up at Goodison Park for a great goal that started his career. So Wayne owes me a drink still. but with Yamal, it's we need to pay him a lot of attention.
I need to ask you about penalties, and I'm sorry to bring it up.
Yeah.
But do you feel this is a new England generation when it comes to penalties? I mean, it struck me that in that quarter-final against Switzerland, Harry Kane went off, and I had a sharp intake of breath. Yeah. You think looks like it's heading to penalties, and our best penalty taker's going off. England scored 5 perfect penalties, almost with no fear. Yeah. I mean, look, you're of a generation where, I'm not going to bring it up, David, but does it feel different? It's different now, isn't it?
It is different, and I've lost shootouts and I've won shootouts. And I think that what's happening now is there's a lot of preparation going into it. There's a lot of research going into not just like the normal penalty takers, but people that put their hands up in shootouts. So that gets all put on record, so people know which way they're going to go. So up, to a certain degree. But yeah, like you said, when we look back at the last shootout, 5 perfect penalties, and a save from Jordan, who, by the way, when we now go into penalty shootouts, we're thinking, it's not going to be like, oh, is he going to save one? It's going to be, how many is he going to save because of his track record?
I mean, look, we all look at Jordan Pickford's water bottle, don't we? Now, that's the level of detail we're going for. Is that new? Was anything like that? I mean, did you ever? I presume you looked at where opponents were going to take penalties and stuff when you were playing for England, but it's gone to a different level now.
Yeah, I used to look at if they did anything different, whether they had the little chip down the middle or they did something different. But other than that, I used to decide right at that moment in time. The thing with the water bottle is if it says on the water bottle, dive right, and then the guy puts it left, you're like, I'd rather do it myself, if I'm honest. I'll take that research, and then maybe I might go that way, but I have to look at the player and try and work out which way he's going to go. That's how I would have dealt with it. It's a little bit different now, but, I did okay.
You did more than okay. You did more than okay. Listen, if he goes to penalties tonight, with the knowledge of what happened last time England were in a European Championship, just 3 years ago, and it went to penalties in the way it went. If he goes to penalties tonight, do you believe?
Yeah, definitely. And especially after the last shootout, and obviously with Bukayo as well, the guts and the determination that he showed to take that penalty. Obviously it reminded me so much of Stuart Pearce when in Euro 96, when Stuart missed his penalty in 1990, Stuart stepped up like that. Bukayo did exactly the same, and it just shows you the character of the man, that he did that. But yeah, I am so confident in penalty shootouts now.
You talk about the character, and that's what struck me in this England side throughout this tournament. They didn't play well, let's be honest. For the first 3 or 4 games, they didn't. They admitted that after a few games. It took them a couple of games to admit it. But they've grown into it. And you look at how they've got through these matches with, Jude Bellingham's overhead kick when the whole nation thought they were out of this tournament. Yeah. You then look at penalties against Switzerland. Then you look at the last-minute goal from a substitute, Ollie Watkins, in the semi-final. They've gutsed it out to this point, haven't they?
Yeah, and all right, we haven't played well, or we've not played as good as what we can do. I think that's where a lot of the frustration came from, is that, we're looking at players that are playing brilliantly in the Premier League or the Liga with Jude, and we know that these guys can perform, and they weren't doing it as good as what we expected them to. But, like you said, we ground out the results. And but it's just getting better and better all the time. And I've always said, it's about peaking at the right time. And hopefully this is going to be our peak.
I need to ask you about tiredness as well, because, look, that's been my biggest concern. I've written a piece for the Sky Sports app that talks about exhaustion being England's biggest threat in this final. Spain are world-class. We know that. They've won 6 out of 6 here. They're brilliant. But for me, it's the fact that Jude Bellingham's not quite on his energy levels. Harry Kane's perhaps not quite fit and been as sharp as you would normally expect. John Stones came in with a bit of an injury. Kieran Trippier today, we know, has got a bit of an injury. There might be a late check there to decide whether it's him or Luke Shaw. How much of that is a concern, that for all of their excellence, England might be a little bit hamstrung by their own fitness levels?
They might be carrying knocks or so. 1 or 2 of them might be carrying knocks, but the adrenaline of this event will get them through. And then when you look at our bench, we've got fantastic subs to come on as well. So the nutritionists will take care of that, I'm sure. And there'll be a lot of nervous tension out there. There'll be people going down with cramp a little bit earlier than what you think because of that nerves. But it's not something that I worry about. I think everything will be taken care of before the game, and then adrenaline will get you through. And especially if you get a goal up, that adrenaline really kicks in.
Let me ask you one final question then. This is the rallying cry, David, so gird your loins, build yourself up, mate. What do you expect tonight? What's the prediction? What do you expect from this England side and this occasion?
Well, my advice is play the match, or play your game, not the occasion, which they'll do that anyway. But my rallying cry is any win, even if it's 10-9. But my heart's saying 2-1 to England. But yeah, any win will do. It's our time. And like I've said, I want to see it come home.